So, Bevis, Motivational Maps, we know they're a great tool and very versatile, but very specifically, how do you feel, what do you think about using Motivational Maps with leaders? Because you've managed, yourself in the past and worked with different leaders, and I know that you've used Motivational Maps an awful lot with leaders of business, leaders within business. So what do you think the Motivational Maps brings to those conversations to help leaders?
Well, I think the main thing is, well, there's lots of things, but one of the main things, if you think about the level of investment goes into senior management teams, so we did some work with an organisation that had an issue with the retention of senior managers beyond the age of 50. And in fact, they never ever kept a senior manager beyond the age of 50. Think of the cost of that. So they're paying these people big sums of money, in some cases six-figure salaries, so high salary bands, and yet the big issue with retention beyond a certain point. And the MAPS managed to solve that issue because actually, lo and behold, no surprise, the level of freedom and independence was desired. There'd been motivation around power, control and influence, and all of a sudden freedom and independence was sneaking up as a preference. And the organisation, the culture of the organisation, to that point, hadn't been able to reward effectively managers with a degree of freedom, independence and autonomy, and so some of their working practices shifted, especially around working from home, obviously been embedded much more so this year. So I think retention of top level quality people is one of the big issues, and therefore less recruitment, less expense in that way, but also absolute clarity for senior leaders about how to manage the senior leadership team, and because I think at that level, often one of the problems is this kind of drain on your time. And senior leaders often don't want to be pulled in lots of different directions. So having concise, practical information of how to lead different people within the team. And one of the beautiful things that I know we both really bought into is the use of the organisational map actually allows a senior leadership, if they choose to really get into the maps, you potentially map a whole department or a whole organisation, and then have absolute, because it's like engagement surveys. I've had numerous conversations with leaders who are like, brilliant. So everyone loves this buzzword of engagement. Senior leadership point of view, oh great, I've just been given a problem. A problem that I have no idea what the answer is. And what we're saying with mapping, and I know it's a long-winded answer, is that we can give the senior leaders an insight into what motivates every single person in their organisation and how fulfilled they are, and train managers how to more effectively manage each team. And the senior leader can look at this whole organisational map report and see how motivated the Burnley team is, or the Manchester team, or the marketing team and the operations team, and they can see where the engagement issues are within the organisation, and the maps tell them what they need to do about that. So in essence, coaching and counselling and consultancy especially is seen as often an expensive, when it is expensive relatively, it's an expensive process, but it isn't expensive. It's huge value when you can pinpoint the coaching and the consultancy to where it's needed, and that's what MAPS can do. It's like, rather than it being a whole problem, oh actually it's not a whole problem because engagement's really good in that team, what the hell's going on in that team? So that's why I love it, for two reasons. So from a team level, senior leaders getting clarity on their leadership style for their own reports, but on a broader basis, how we can actually improve the culture of a whole organisation.
So it sounds great as if you're a senior leader or a leader of a business or a leader of a team, using the motivational maps in order to support that understanding of the team broadly, including culture. What else in your experience has benefited the leaders in terms of their own growth and development?
I'm glad you said that, because somebody said to me recently, I've just been on a well-being webinar for leaders. He said it was brilliant, apart from the fact that one person they didn't mention was the leader. He was quite comical about it. It was like, well, I know what to do for the frontline team. I've got great guidance how we can support them. He said we weren't even mentioned. I wasn't even mentioned. So often it can be a lonely place. So the map provides a blueprint for coaching senior leaders. So those, and there's two sides to this. If mappers get involved with using maps and coaching senior leaders, it's a wonderful way of. I've just had a map come back from a senior leader today, which motivation engagement levels are really low. There'll be some reasons for that, and the map will pull out those reasons, which will lead to a coaching journey for that leader should they be open to it. So it provides a blueprint, and it kind of also it takes opinion out of the way, and it means that leaders have got somebody to bounce ideas off, and also de-stress and vent and let go of frustrations, which of course is hugely important.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Thanks, Bevis. I totally agree with you, of course, because that's often where we introduce the maps at the leadership level in order to get people to buy into the idea of using this tool and the huge amount of variety of tools that are out there. But of course, once the leader has seen the benefit of the motivational maps and what it means to them, then actually what we can then use in that information to pass on to the wider team is hugely beneficial. So that's been great, Bevis.
Oh,
Thank you very much. So that's using motivational maps for leaders. So yeah, do get in touch if you're interested. Maybe you are a leader of a team or a leader of an organisation and would like to experience what motivational maps can do for you.